Most people live a life without focus. Have you set your face? It's your time. You've been saying it's your time, it's your season. This is my year. You've been shouting and telling everybody, I'm going to receive everything that God has for me. Do you have the focus to receive it? One of the first things I learned in my life, and every so often I have to recalibrate. I have to get things back into focus. As I add more into my life, then I have to refocus. Because what used to work is now out of focus. And I learned that as I take it more into my life, I have to bring order and structure. My response to pressure and stress is order and structure. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. You might be rejecting something that God wants to send in your life. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that you can't do it with the old order. You can't have a new blessing and an old order. Every so often as you get new blessings, new opportunities, new doors, new positions, new children, new life, new marriage, new house, new whatever it is, you have to refocus. Now you got more weight. Now you got more responsibility. Now you got more demands. You have to refocus, restructure, reorganize. Are you organized for what you prayed for? You can't take on another job and still have your old habits. You have to structure or refocus for where you're going, not for where you've been. The reason you're stressed out and overloaded and at your wit's end is that you haven't reorganized your life. Some people have no focus at all. I talk, you'd be surprised. I talk a lot when I'm on stage. I'm quiet when I'm at home. You can't just be rattling all the time. It drives me crazy when people talk too much. It drives me crazy when they just go on and on and on and on because, see, I pay attention. And if you're not going anywhere with this, it drives me crazy. It's hard to follow somebody who doesn't have focus. What is your trend of thought? Some people spend money without focus. You just buying stuff. I bought these shoes. Why? What do they go with? I don't know. I just thought they were pretty. So you're broke by happenstance. Money without focus will cause you to end up in poverty. Spending without structure, without strategy will deplete your savings. You have to have a plan to your money. If you don't have a plan and a structure and a reason to it, you will lose things that you could have had because you had no focus. Some people live with no focus.
Wherever focus goes, energy flows. You envisioned something, you got clear about it, and then you started thinking about all the reasons why you wanted it. You got excited about it. Said, this is what's next for me now. I want this. You may have dreamed about it, thought about it, talked about it. But when you focus on something continuously, something magical happens. You get insights, don't you? You overhear a conversation and you hear something you wouldn't have heard if you didn't have that outcome or goal that you wanted so badly.
You want to make your dream come true, you got to stay focused. Some people rather get even than get ahead. Stay focused on where you want to go. And here's what happens when you get still. Stuff will start coming. So you've got to be willing to stay focused, to be creative, to be relentless, because things are going to happen to you when you're working on your dream.
Stuff gets better if we work at it and we stay focused on where we're going.
You want to be totally focused. You can't take your eye off the ball.
Concentration. Focused concentration. You've got to identify your target. Let nothing stand in your way. You've got to keep your eye on the target until you've released the arrow. Let nothing capture your attention unless it's in the best interest of your ambition. Let not an obstacle come before you without getting around it, going over it, going under it, trying a different path until you get there. Concentration in sports is crucial. The consummate professional on the field or on the court won't hear the jeering of the crowd. Their concentration keeps all noise and clutter at bay. They have one thing in mind, and that's moving the ball. You have to have just one thing in mind, keeping on track, closing out all the noise and the clutter that gets in your way, going around all the obstacles of negativity and influence. In a tennis match, how long does it take for your opponent to return the ball? Not very long. And what if you lose your concentration? Game's over. One little slip of concentration, just that fast, one little slip of concentration. Your opponent puts the ball by your feet, and there goes the tennis match. In a major presentation, just lose your concentration for a flash of a second. And I'm telling you, you could lose it all. All the hard work, all the long hours, all the preparation, all the momentum building to that crucial presentation could be gone if you don't keep your concentration. If you don't watch your audience, if you don't keep your mind on what you're doing, if you don't keep focused on the task at hand, it could slip right on by you. Wherever you are, be there. Whatever you're supposed to be doing for the moment, do it. You can't be thinking of everything you have to do at one time, all the time. You have to concentrate on just one thing at a time, one project, one job. You have to take it one task at a time and complete it. Do what you've set out to do. Keep your mind only on that one task. Why? If you don't, you won't accomplish anything. Concentration takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to demand privacy, to keep the do not disturb sign on your door while you're in the middle of an important job. It takes a lot of discipline not to answer the phone every time it rings at home. That's why they make voicemail and answering machines, so you don't have to answer the phone every time it rings. Your family will appreciate an uninterrupted dinner hour. Your night work will get done a whole lot faster. Concentrate on the work at hand and demand of yourself the discipline to stay focused. If you have a long list of things to get done within a day, do the toughest ones while your concentration is at its peak. If you're a morning person, get the job done in the morning. Don't wait until the evening when your energy is all spent. No, do the jobs that need the most concentration when your body is best able to handle them. If you're a night person, save those tough jobs for the night, not in the morning when you've still got cobwebs in your brain. Learn your body's rhythms and do the jobs that need the most concentration when you're able to do them best. When you're at work, be at work. When you're in a conference, be in that conference. When you're at your kid's school play or soccer game or dance recital, be there. Don't let your mind wander. Stay focused. Stay focused on the task at hand or the company you're with. Don't let your mind wander during conversations. You never know what important points you'll miss. Stay focused. Stay true to where you are and what you're doing. Use your discipline to keep your mind in line. When you recognize the need to concentrate more, when you recognize this need, and when you discipline yourself to stay focused, it will come easier and easier. Focused concentration can be learned. Focused concentration can become a habit. If you work on it a little every day, the easier it comes, the less energy you'll waste on making your mind you. Number one cornerstone of an ambitious person: concentration. Focused concentration. Make your mind pay attention. Discipline yourself to be where you are. Work at work and play at play. Don't mix the two. Concentrate. Give your job the attention it deserves. Give your family the attention they deserve. Give your colleagues the attention they deserve. Wherever you are, be there. Concentrate. That's number one.
What is controlling your thoughts? What is enslaving you? Is it the television set? Feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it the internet drawing you in and controlling your time? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And we get very caught up in instant gratification. We want the shortcut to the winner's podium. We want results now. And when we don't get the short-term glory, sometimes we lose sight of those long-term goals. They fade. We lose focus. So we stop the daily tasks and the daily disciplines that will allow us to achieve our goals. Then a day slips by, and then another day. Then a day turns into a week, and a week into a year, and you look up in 6 weeks, or 6 months, or 6 years, and you've made no progress. None. You lost sight of the long-term goal, and it faded, and you began to rationalize. Maybe I can't. Maybe I don't really want to. Maybe this goal isn't for me. And so you give up. You settle for the status quo. You settle for the easy road. You settle for, oh well. No. Don't do that. Embed that long-term goal in your mind. Burn it into your soul. Think about it. Write about it. Talk about it. Hang it up on your wall. But most important, do something about it. Every day. Every day, do something that moves you toward that goal, that keeps that goal alive and in sight and in focus. However small or insignificant that step might seem, take it. Do it. Make it happen. Because that goal isn't going to achieve itself. It is all on you.
Make a damn schedule and stick to it so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so the best possible day I could have, what would it look like? Well, then you schedule that.
So if you want more free time, you need more disciplined time. More scheduled time towards the things that matter. And more vacation time for you and your family. That's how you get ahead.
What's your distraction? Just be honest. Are you distracted by ESPN? Are you distracted by movies, Netflix, video games, gossip? Are you distracted with things that don't matter in your life? Ask yourself truthfully, your big goals and dreams. Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity for an extended period of time? I'm talking about a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even a decade. Towards something you want so badly, you want it like oxygen. It's like you want it like you want to live. Are you extendedly laser focused on it, or do you get distracted easily? Our obsessions become our possessions, but we won't possess them if we're not truly obsessed. Turn your damn TV off. Turn your phone off a lot too. Does it really matter what's going on with the Kardashians right now? Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life. This suffering, this sacrifice you're making is an indicator of progress. It's an indicator of obsession. Suffering and sacrifice and hard work is an indication of progress towards our dreams. The price you will pay for not making your dream come true is far greater than the one that you will pay to make it come true. You'll pay that one the rest of your life. And so ask yourself what you're willing to risk. What's the price you're willing to pay? Stop negotiating the price. It's a freeing experience to totally commit. When you totally commit to a business, to your fitness, it's a freeing, powerful, it's almost like removing kryptonite from your life when you totally commit. Can you do that? The people around you are saying, it's costing too much. It's costing too much. You guys are going, no, it's worth it.
I'm telling you, this stuff changed my life, altered the course of my life, from milking cows to sitting on this stool. Incredible. What a journey. I want you to look now at the whole list that you've written and the exercises we've done. Now I want you to answer this question. What kind of person must I become to achieve all I want? What kind of person must I become to achieve all I want? Now we've got two things working. What you become helps you to achieve, and what you achieve helps you to become. And the more you become, the more you can achieve, and the more you achieve, the more you can become. Who knows which affects the other the most? So now just write this exercise. Start with a few sentences. We won't have time for you to, take a lot of time, but just start with a few sentences. Your concept of the person you think you must become to achieve what you want. This is time for a little truth here. Maybe you need to become much wiser than you are at the moment. You need to become stronger. You need to have better health. Maybe you need a little coaching to really become the person I want to become. I'm going to have some coaching. Physical coaching, spiritual coaching, developing skills coaching. To be the influence you want to be, you got to build an incredible reputation. What kind of person must I be to attract all that I want in my life and the people that I want and the opportunities that I want? When you knock on the door and opportunity opens, you must stand there as a very attractive person, or you may not be invited in. I usually take the simple approach to life in trying to figure it out or trying to comprehend it. The guy says, this happens to me, and this happens to me, and all this stuff happens to me. How come it all happens to me? And I say, I don't know. Best I've been able to figure out, those kind of things always happen to people like you. I think the simple approach is the best, or the witty approach. I come along 16 years ago to do some things for Herbalife, and one of my friends says, I heard that some people died using that Herbalife product, and I said, not that many. Here's what I found out. You cannot give a serious answer to a silly comment. You've got to return silly for silly. I mean, a little wit sometimes helps to just, disarm all the stuff that you don't want to take responsibility for. Lady Astor in the English Parliament was exasperated with Churchill. And she said, Winston Churchill, if you were my husband, I would put poison in your coffee. And Winston said, Lady Astor, if you were my wife, I would drink it. A few simple ideas can be so life-changing, whether it's economic or health. My mama said, you don't have to radically change. She recommended an apple a day. And I said, well, can I have some candy? She said, yes, if you had the candy and the apple, but not the candy as the substitute for the apple. See, that made sense to me. Okay, I can have candy if I've made sure I've had the apple, but not as a substitute for the apple. And she said it in such a simple way, I got it. Shof, my mentor in business, had the same unique style. When I said, hey, things cost too much, he said, no, you can't afford them. I thought that's the new way to look at it. And he showed me these alternate ways to look at something. He said, how come you're not doing well? I showed him my paycheck. I said, this is all the company pays. He said, well, that's not true. I said, no, this is my check. He says, no, Mr. Rohn, this is all that the company pays you. This is not all that the company pays. Just in 2 or 3 sentences opened up a whole new world of consciousness to think about. He says, doesn't some people in the same company earn 4 or 5 times this amount that you're getting? I said, well, yes. He said, well, then this is not all that the company pays. And if you were 4 or 5 times more valuable than you are now, do you think this would multiply by 4 or 5? And I said, yes, I guess it would. He said, why don't we go to work on that? So you don't have to work on the company to pay you more money. You only have to work on yourself to become more valuable. Simple ways of saying things so simply. It doesn't have to be radical. The key is just to start. If you start making 3 presentations a day in a year, it's 1,000. The 1,000 seems like too many to do, but starting is easy. Then continuing and not yielding to the temptation to be careless and let it slide and go back to old habits. Just put it in your pocket. And then when you get home, you put it in the trash. And somebody says, well, what difference does that make? The little cellophane on the toothpick. Here's what makes the difference, the habit. And the habit makes the difference primarily for you. Now, yes, it makes a contribution, and a little small contribution by not leaving trash. But here's what it does mostly. Give you the incredible feeling of self-worth because you have good habits. That's the deal. The habit of turning out the lights when you're finished with your hotel room. You leave the hotel room, turn out the lights. It just makes a small contribution, but what if everybody did it? I'm telling you, the energy requirements would be less. You say, well, the hotel gets the benefit. Hey, it doesn't matter to you who gets the benefit. Guess what's the greatest benefit? Being a person of unique habits. Habits that not only make you perform as far as skills are concerned, but habits that make you feel good about yourself. And then sometimes we get the question, why do it? And I got the best answer to that. Why not do it? If it's so easy to do, why not do all the easy things that make a contribution? And who knows what the total contribution could be if we all did it. But even if everybody doesn't, if you do it, and if I do it, it just makes us better human beings. It makes us feel better about ourselves. And if I know you do it, it makes me feel better about you. And if you know I do it, I I think it makes you feel better about me. Say, wow, this man was taught some good things when he was growing up. Some countries of the world show unique respect. When I go to Mexico, I love to go to Mexico because they don't just say, hello, Jim Rohn. They say, hello, Mr. Jim Rohn. When they introduce me, they say, this is Mr. Jim Rohn. They don't say, this is Jim Rohn. It's just part of the custom. This is Mr. Jim Rohn. When I first came to the South, I remember just as a kid, and they said, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. I mean, where I was raised, we really didn't do that. But I think the more the South did it, the more it caught on, and now I'm beginning to hear that in a lot more places than just the South. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Things we can all learn. Helps make our lives better, helps make the world better, helps make people feel good about themselves, feel good about us. Incredible. So the environment, whatever little thing you can think of that gives you pride and joy in doing to make the contribution. As small as it may seem, you make it for what it does to the environment, for the people. But here's the biggest reason for what it does for you. I want to be the best I can possibly be at delivering the message of good words. So we keep working on our skills to be the best we possibly can.
When God told Moses to hold up the rod and the waters would part, I can imagine he was tempted to reason it out. God, what do you mean? These waters have been like this for years. You would think if the Israelites were going to somehow get across, it would take months for the waters to recede, become less and less. Maybe God would send a big drought. But when God spoke to Moses, nothing looked any different. Everything in his mind said it's impossible. It would take months or years of a drought. God, we only have a few hours before we're going to be recaptured. But God doesn't always do things on a normal timetable. He specializes in doing a quick work. He knows how to speed things up. What could have taken years, in one moment, God caused the winds to blow the waters back. They hurried out of the Israelites' way. Now you may have obstacles in your life that look permanent, but God is about to have them hurry out of your way. It's not going to happen gradually on a normal schedule like you were expecting. It's going to happen quickly, out of the ordinary. Things that you've been struggling with, fear, anxiety, a challenge in your health, that child that's off course. When you look at the waters, nothing looks any different. You know God is telling you a breakthrough is coming, but you don't see any sign of it. You want to believe, but your mind is telling you there's no way. But just like those waters hurried out of the Israelites' way, those obstacles are about to hurry out of your way. Now, you may have had that illness a long time. The prognosis doesn't look good. Receive this into your spirit. It's about to hurry out of your way. That legal trouble looks permanent. That financial difficulty, that situation at work seems like there's no end in sight. Now get ready. God's about to do a quick work. Lack, struggle, debt is about to hurry out of your way. It's going to happen suddenly. It's going to be a rapid turnaround. That's what happened for us here at Lakewood. When we acquired the Compact Center, a company filed a lawsuit to try to keep us from moving in. They said we violated the deed restrictions. Our attorneys told us it could be tied up in the courts for years. When we looked at the waters, like with Moses, nothing looked any different. A year had gone by, the other side wasn't about to budge. They had no contact with us. Looked like it could be that way for another 10 years. But one day, out of the blue, the other side called and said they wanted to meet. Our attorney said it was probably a ploy, just trying to distract us. We met with them, and in a couple of hours, they agreed to drop the lawsuit and let us have the building. When it's your time, God knows how to have enemies hurry out of your way.
A long time ago, I was with a friend of mine, and his grandmother was in the hospital dying, and he wanted me to take her to go see her. I was young, and she was dying. She had terminal illness. She knew she was dying. She asked her grandson to come see her. So I took him. We go in the hospital room, and, she was in there. So I was standing behind him. We was at her bed. She said to him, she said, "Do you know your great-grandfather's name?" My boy said, "No, Mom, dear, I don't know." She said, "You know why you don't know his name?" He said, "Why, Mom, dear?" She said, "Because he ain't leave you nothing." She said, "When you walk away from my bed, you ain't going to see me no more." She said, "Go live your life so your children's grandchildren will know your name. Live a life where your children's grandchildren will know who you was, man. That they know your name. But they ain't gonna know your name if you wasn't great. They ain't gonna know your name if you don't leave them something. You cannot leave your family, your job." My mom and dad, as great as they were, they left me empty-handed. But boy, the church she put in me, the God she put in me, my father instilled in me manhood. Do what you say you're going to do. Them two things from that Sunday school teacher and that coal miner shape and form who you standing in front of today. This who in front of you. Somebody, but that lesson that grandmother taught that dude, it wasn't for him. It was for me. See, God just sent me that day. But I needed to hear that. And ever since then, I've been trying to make my life so my children's grandchildren will know who I was when I leave this earth. That's what you got to do. You ain't got to clap for me. I don't really care. Look, man, I'm going to teach you 4 things real quick. Now, people told me one time, said, "Steve, you missed your calling. You should have been a preacher." No. I cuss way too much. I'm the last person need to be in a pulpit. I promised Dr. Boyd I wasn't going to cuss today. Now, I wanted to 3 times already, but I haven't, because Dr. Boyd said this is a dignified event. So I'm just going to honor that. Me personally, I don't see nothing wrong with cussing. Somebody said, but Steve, his kids in here. All your kids done heard cussing. And if they haven't, I recommend you start. Because it cuts back on butt whippings. Lesson 1 is live your life so your children's grandchildren will know who you are. Go be great, y'all. Take this degree and make it more than just a piece of paper hanging on the wall. Take this degree and go change some lives with it. Make it put pressure on yourself. Go out there and ask God to help make you great. Don't go be regular. I don't really care for regular. I never really wanted a life. I wanted an extraordinary life. I've been asking God for this my whole life. Now what he gave me is grace. Way more than I ever asked for. I ain't never thought I'd be. Look, I already know. Y'all could have had a bigger star come down here. Somebody with a bigger name could have. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. No. I don't even know why I said it. I tried to be humble, but let's quit fronting. You know good and well, I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm Steve Harvey, man. Dr. Phil don't even know where your school at. Ellen thought ASU was Arizona State. Y'all got who want to be here. I come down here, man, because I want to come down here. Look, and bottom line, it's diverse people in here. But can I tell you something? I love black people. I love black people my entire life. I ain't never shunned away from the fact that I was black. I starred on BET. I still go on BET. I know where it come from. Black people made me famous first. I crossed over, but my crossover was different. I built a bridge, and I let everybody come over here see how I am. But I didn't get on the bridge and go over there. Because see, when the bridge burned down, you got to be able to get back home. I never left home. So I've been this here the whole time. That's no disrespect to anybody sitting in here. I just got to talk real with you. Now, if you didn't want real, you should have had somebody else come down. But this is the truth of the matter. Now, second thing I want to teach you. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. You got to learn this one now. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. Because this is what you're going to have to do. Because let me tell you something. As successful as you've been up to this point, once again, I congratulate you to the fullest. But let me tell you something. You bound to get to fail. Because you finna taste life like it really is.
Bill Bailey and I have been involved in other enterprises, but the enterprise, fortunately was successful, and we had a chance to affect a lot of other people's lives. But guess what happened over those years, and which continues to today? We continue to invest in each other. I come up with a great idea, I get on the phone, I call him. He comes up with a book he's read, said, this is a masterpiece, you've got to read it. So we have this chance to invest each other. And while we walk the farm country of Kentucky, we invest in each other. We walk the beaches of California, and he has a habit of grabbing your arm when you're walking and talking. So he would grab my arm until this one would get sore, and then we'd trade places so he could, grab the other arm for a while we're walking and talking. But a chance to contribute to each other. And what I share with him, he shares with others. And what he shares with me, I share with you and others around the world. That contribution of sharing with each other, being influential, leadership, making a contribution to someone's life that no telling how far it may go from the time it starts. Friendship is, it's one of the most valuable possessions in the world. Good friends, relationships. What really matters when we all get right down to it is that inner circle. When we should spend as much time as possible, maximum time, maybe borrow a little from other things that aren't quite that valuable, that are essential but not quite that valuable, and spend more time, family, inner circle, close friends. Because that's where a lot of the drive and ambition to do well comes from. Making dreams come true for that inner circle, you and them, furnishes the fuel for high ambition. Not to be ambitious just for the name or for the fame or for the money or for the useful things you can do like generosity for the future, but at least to do as much as you can to nourish that association, communication, inner circle, conversations in art, whether it's with a child or whether it's with husband and wife or friends. Used to be years ago, we wrote letters that only got sent or, received once in a while. Now we just jump on the phone and talk. But back then, people seemed to take thoughtful care about putting into words how they really felt. And it's easy to be a bit too casual and not put as much how you really care into language, especially when we're talking all day long. It's hard to be that unique when we really would like to be unique, say something extraordinary about how we feel, but it gets lost in sort of the mundane, ordinary conversation rather than taking the time to say something unique about how you care and about how you feel. When Judy, my wife, and I, when we parted ways, there's a chance to be, there's one expression called born again or reborn.
We have a father for the first time, as well as a new baby. We have a new father. So it's the new baby's life to work out. Now it's also the new father's life. And probably as a father, best instruction would be to study and practice and work hard at seeing if you couldn't be a Class A father. If it's the mother's first time, we have a brand new baby, but a brand new mother. Now that she has a chance to live a brand new life, different life experience than ever before, shouldn't she study and practice and learn, listen, try to find ways to become a Class A mother? About 16 years ago, I became a grandfather, and I have practiced diligently now the last 16 years of being a 5-star grandfather to my 2 grandchildren, Nathaniel and Natalie. They're exceptional, highly talented. I just published a book of my granddaughter's poems that she wrote when she was 12, and the art illustration by her brother, Nathaniel. I Love What I See is the title, by Natalie Pangrazio. Now she's 15, and she's written now a collection of 10 stories for children. And her brother, Nathaniel, is an accomplished classical pianist. He writes music, sends it off for competition. These are talented kids, artists and writers and musicians at such a young age. So what I've done is try to specialize, helping my granddaughter publish this book when she was, 14? A poem she wrote when she was 12. It's really good. I've got to read you something. I told you about my granddaughter, Natalie. She wrote these poems, and we're publishing them, and here's one when she was 12. It's called Metaphors of Flowers. From those whose imaginations love to take flight, they will use even a flower to determine wrong from right. An iris is like wisdom, the deep color like the depth of knowledge, and the yellow like the bright ideas one receives. The knowledge spreads upwards, as do the iris's leaves. A lily is simplicity like the whiteness of its flower, but in simplicity there is beauty like the yellow stamen's tower. Truth is like a dandelion, which is bold and has not sinned, and truth is spread far and wide like dandelion seeds upon the wind. They soon find a place to rest and grow in someone's heart, and the cycle begins again just as it did start. A daisy is like happiness and spreads its face to the sun. It loves everything around it, and in everything finds fun. Hate is like a thistle, which is awful and sharp to the touch. It combines envy, anger, and most of all, disgust. And finally, best of all, love represents a rose. Love is sweet to your heart as a rose is to your nose. Love combines trust, hope, faith, and integrity. There are good paths and bad paths, and no matter which one you chose, love is just as sweet as the loveliest rose. My granddaughter.
When I'm broken, I relish it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it. Because if I'm broken, then I just found my limitations. And until I know what my limitations are, how can I push them? How can I get better? But once I see it, once I feel it, once I see where I was broken, then I can attack that weakness. I can fill in that gap. I can reinforce that breach. If you break, it means it's time to fortify your will to make it stronger. And look, there's all kinds of different ways to break. You can break physically, you can break mentally, you can break your heart, you can break your spirit, and none of those are fun. And all of those are going to leave a mark. But the mark that they leave can be the mark of victory, or it can be the mark of defeat. Because every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance, it's definitely a chance for you to give up and for you to just to fall apart. But there's also opportunity. There's opportunity to get stronger, get smarter, and get faster, and get tougher, and get more stable, and get more resilient, and get better. When you break, you have opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. So if you break, if you break, the fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning. And as you crawl up and out of that
dismal and wretched place, and you're covered in blood and sweat and dirt and filth as you rise above what you were. And as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
The number one thing that's going to change your life, the only thing that will change your life, change your business, change your money, change your relationship, is you must raise your standard. And I know that sounds boring, stupid, basic, but it's the truth. The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards. What does that mean? That sounds so boring and dumb. It means that all of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. Remember I said earlier, we all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. The difference in people is their standards, period. The difference in people is their standards, period. What do I mean by standards? Everyone in the world has a list of things they think they should do. I should lose weight. I should work out. I should spend more time with my kids. I should work harder. I should make more calls. I should. And then you know what? People don't do their shoulds, and they get mad at themselves, and they what I call should all over themselves. They beat themselves up about it. What changes people is when your should becomes a must. When suddenly the thing you said should happen has to happen. That's when human beings change. It's like if you want to take the island and you're the head of the army and you want to take the island, the most powerful way to take the island is burn the boats. Because if there's no way to go back, it's amazing what happens when it's a must to do something versus a should. That's what makes human beings succeed.